Are you the kind of person that if you saw a man hitting a woman on the street, would you do something about it? Well, turns out that I am, because I did. Something like that just happened to me. And I'm not patting myself on the back or anything, but I was in a parking lot, and there was this woman in a car, and a guy getting in a car, and she didn't want him in the car, and he was getting in the car, and it looked like he was hitting her. So I automatically just started to go over there, and my wife, she's the one that said, look at that, right? And she's like, wait, I'm going to call the cops. I said, call the cops, right? So I headed over, and I was walking behind the car, so obviously they saw me in their rearview mirror coming, and they just kind of stopped. And so I went around to her side because I wanted to talk to her rather than him. I wanted to see what was going on with her. And I was like, hey, are you guys all right? Because we see what you're fighting, right? And the husband started saying some bullshit about, oh, I'm Canadian, she's American, and which I'm like, I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. And it was aggravating me because I was trying to talk to her. So I said, look, I'm not talking to you, right? Pretty much in that tone. And I said to her, I said, miss, are you all right? You know, so she turned and she told me, she says, no, I'm okay. We're married. And I was like, all right. And I wish at that second in time, I wish I had thought to have said something to him like, you should be ashamed of yourself, you know, for being an asshole who hits women. You know, just shame the shit out of him. But I didn't. What I did say was I said to them, I said, oh, all right, you know, because she seemed all right, just upset because she wouldn't look at me at first. She had to, you know, I made sure she turned and looked at me. I said, all right, but just so you know, my wife is probably calling the cops right now. And he was like, well, that's all right, which, again, it pissed me off a little. But I just went back and I asked my wife if she was calling the cops. And she was like, she said no, because it seemed to be over. But that's a weird thing for me, because I didn't really know that I would necessarily do that. You know, I think I would do it. I'd hope that I would do that, you know, be that kind of guy. But it turned out, sure, I did. And the thing about me is I'm not really much of a fighter, but I have been in fights. And so I know what it's like to get punched and even to get knocked out. But like I said, I'm not really much of a fighter. I mean, maybe I'm more of a lover than a fighter. And although lately I'm more of a masturbator than a lover. But anyway, I guess what I'm really trying to say is that I love masturbating.